Welcome, everybody. It is CrainCraft, and this is episode 0 of Rimworld Disciples of Cthulhu, or Cthulhu Wars, or something similar to that. Though there are so many juicy titles for this idea, I might just have to toss a coin. Now, since Rimworld playthroughs can be complex, and the fact that I'm going to go with a ton of mods on this one, we're going to take an episode and go over the concept of the series, all the mods, some of the rules, and how we're going to structure it. So, concept. If I had to try to sum up the idea of this series in one sentence, I would say we are bioengineered Cthulhu cultists bent on the conversion of all flesh to serve our dark lords. Think slaves, pits of darkness filled with rotting flesh, and the moans of the prisoners within, the screams of colonists as their flesh is warped into combat monstrosities that, yeah, we're going to take over the world. So, mods. There's going to be a bunch of them. I have these semi-organized into categories. I have played with this pack some. It works really well. This load order works perfectly. The only occasional problem that I've had is a little bit of lag, and raids take a long time to generate. And occasionally I have to reload because my right click stops working. Other than that, this is a really, really stable mod pack. So, also in the description will be a link to a Steam collection for all the mods on this. There will also be a mod order list download link below. All right, so let's get started. Many of these are mods that I run up front, are mods that I run in every pack that just help with stuff. We'll explain them as we go through in case you've never seen them. So Mod E, it allows you to sync your mod list automatically to the game that you load. I play a lot of modded Rimworld with a lot of really specific scenarios. And if I want to load something, this mod will let me know if I don't have the correct mods loaded and will give me a chance to load those mods and restart the game so that I can play that save. So really, really handy. Mod check, it just keeps all your mods up to date. And of course, we've got the core. Then we've got Rim PC, which is Rich Presence for the Rim. This is for my Discord server. We run a small Discord server of game and survival game enthusiasts. The link's below if you want to check it out. It's called CrainCraft. Anyway, this just gives you some additional information in Discord. So, better. Okay, there we go. Better mod mismatch window. Just a new GUI window that's really nice. There's progress render, which takes scheduled renders of your maps and saves them as JPEGs or PNGs or whatever you want to. I use this and take 2 a day so that at the end maybe we can look back and do a time lapse. We have SRTS expanded. These are basically end game ships that you can load up and use to move around the map. I intend to use these as part of our expansion campaign. We want to take over the world. I intend for this to be a long series, hopefully. And we're going to have a lot of stuff to move around, so this is going to help out. Of course, we have Hug Lives, Startup Impact, just because I like seeing if some things are really slowing me down. Load Up, which just applies some community solutions for load times. When you're running packs as big as I run them with 100+ mods, you got huge load times anyway. So anything you can do to help. Runtime GC, which is an in-game cleaner that I just find absolutely invaluable to have. It's got a dynamic memory monitor. It allows you to reclaim memory, remove snow, just all kinds of stuff that's really nice. We're primarily going to use this to remove dead actors and other things. We're not going to use it to like remove filth or anything like that. That would, in my opinion, for this, that would be cheating. So next we have mod list. Basically, it allows you to, everybody should know this, it allows you to export your list of mods. There'll be a download link down there with all of the ones I'm running. Export agency. This allows you to set up your builds, outfits, storage settings, everything one time, export them, and then re-import them into new games. So invaluable for saving that grind at the start of a game where you have to just set up everything from scratch. Rim themes, which you'll see in the background here, it just allows, there's a whole bunch of community themes. I'm running the Lovecraft theme pack right now. Rim HUD, which just is a really great UI mod. I am a information junkie, extremely visual. So as we go through my mod list, you will see all kinds of tabs and anything that gives me more information on the HUD at one time where I don't have to dig through more menus. I'm all for. Dubs Mint Minimap. There's the Rimworld search agency, which gives you the ability to search on your build tabs, outfit tab, storage tab. It's sweet. Can't do without it. Nature's pretty sweet. I really like this mod. It's a weather and environment mod. It adds a few new biomes, but it's just there's new resources, items, dangers. There's just all kinds of stuff. I really like Nature's pretty sweet. Some people don't. I do. There's run and hide. This is really nice. It just, you can set a spawn point where if you set colonists to run from things, this is where they will go. This is really important to get them, because that whole running into a corner thing and dying, yeah, I'm not trying to do it. Faction control allows us more configuration options over factions. Primarily, I am using it. There is an option that allows you to group factions into loose nations. You can group them into very tight nations, but I group them into very loose nations where, as you can see here, there's more of one faction in one area, but I keep it loose so that there's also a lot of variety in one spot. Clear the stockpiles, which just really helps with hauling things. Combat readiness check. This alters the normal threat point calculation and designs your raids differently. It helps them scale a lot better, and because we're going to be combat based, this really helps out. There's also another mod that I'm using called Dire Raids that's just yeah, it'll be fun. So while you're up, it just allows colonists to haul things while they're doing other things. Save our ship too. I thought I might try this out. This is a overhaul of spaceflight. Usually the thing is to get off the rim. This allows us to build an orbital station and a few other things. We'll see how it goes. It's really end game. We'll see how it goes when we get there. So we are running Combat Extended and all of the assorted plugins. So we've got Constant Combat Extended Melee, Combat Extended Shields, Combat Extended Guns. We've got a lot of icons and retextures. I run most of my games at 4K. I game at 4K, so I like really nice textures. And I usually find that on the whole, community textures are more pleasing to me than the base textures on a game, usually. Also, we are running Rimsenal. Rimsenal is a great little weapons and armor pack, and Rimsenal now has patches for Combat Enhanced. So we are running Rimsenal, Rimsenal Federation, Rimsenal Feral. We are also running the Security Pack, which gives us new turrets, defenses, and other utilities. And, of course, we are running the patch for all of that. Next is a patch that allows us to create FSX from Chem Fuel. It's really handy. In Combat Extended, it just gets, the process to get FSX is just too painful. This is enough work put in to get the Chem Fuel and then convert it over that I think it works well. We have Jex Tools, of course, which is a modding foundation plugin. We have Call of Cthulhu, Cosmic Horrors. As I said, this is Cthulhu Wars. What is it without the Cosmic Horrors and everything that goes with it? So we have Call of Cthulhu, Cosmic Horrors. We have cults, and we have factions because we're going to start our own cult, of course. We have RimQuest, which adds quest givers to trader groups and caravans. This is going to primarily be a questing and warfare type series, and we are just going to pile on anything that we can get for more content. We have Doors Expanded, just add some new types of doors. The Pit of Despair. Yeah, this one's a good one. We can store our prisoners in a bottomless pit. So it adds a new building, the Pit of Despair. You can basically build it, throw prisoners down inside of it. We can either feed them or not. And we can also consecrate our pits to our deities from the Rim of Madness cults mod. So not only are we going to create our cult to our gods, we are going to create pits of despair and throw our prisoners in there. At least the ones that we don't convert and mold their flesh for our use. Trade ships drop spot. I get so tired of trade ships dropping stuff otherwhere, so this just helps out. Rim saves, probably one of the greatest utilities ever made for Rimworld, allows you to create folders for all of your different saves. Humanoid alien races just gives us a base framework to do other types of races. We have megafauna. We have rim bees to add a little bit of beekeeping. I haven't messed with this much, and I don't know how useful this is going to be, but I did want to throw it in. Maybe we can mess with it and see what happens. Dire Raids, one of my favorite all-time plugins, creates a mid to late game event called a Dire Raid. It basically multiplies the points that the game gets to design an encounter. It can multiply. I've had raids up in the hundreds of people. So mid to late game, if we get one, it can be a challenge. Pawn target fix, it's a really simple fix that allows the colonists who are doing range combat to target those closest to them first if I don't tell them anything else. We have Common Sense, which does a few patches to make things work a little bit smoother. Next, we have Pack Mules Extended, which extends the amount of animals available to act as pack mules. Next, we have Reasonable Components, which I think just fixes the component cost to a more quote-unquote reasonable level. We have Unroof the Hay, which means hay doesn't deteriorate when left outside. We have various spaceship chunks. These are really nice, just add some variety into the game. The different color chunks have different resources that you can get from them. Next, we have Carry Capacity Fix, which just does a fix to the carry capacity. No friendly fire. Now, usually I use Avoid Friendly Fire, but considering that this episode is going to be primarily warfare, I am worried that having friendly fire is going to cause problems later on. Now, to balance this out, both sides have no friendly fire, so they don't get to shoot themselves. We don't get to shoot ourselves either. I always miss shooting my pawns in the back of the head and killing them randomly, but we're not going to do that this time. So next we have Accurate Mortars. It decreases the spread from 11 to 5. I just really have always felt like, so Accurate Mortars just decreases the mortar's spread from 11 to 5. The bad flip side of this, of course, is that the opposition's mortars are also just as accurate. Next up, we have Rain Remover. It's really simple. Rain removes all filth. We have the Where's My Weapon patch, which just allows a pawn to retrieve the exact weapon that they had before they were downed, if they were downed. Next, we have Zen's Training Fixer, which simply fixes the training where the animals don't forget that they've been trained. Next, we have Octong. This really helps out. You can command your colonists. The biggest thing that I use this for is being able to right-click and force a pawn to do something. Autocut Blight. Autocut Blight doesn't take Blight out, but it stops having to reach down there and double-click them every single time. Next is ED Enhanced Options, which simply gives you some options for things like plants being able to grow 24 hours a day, safe traps, turret control. The primary thing that I use this for are the shows and also the turret control. I really don't do the 24-hour plants or anything else. We just deal with that. fast regen. This is more of a mid to late game mod that adds 3 different beds that increase regeneration. Next, we have the fire extinguisher mod, which just adds a usable firefighting tool for pawns to use, and you can actually assign people to firefighting with the fire extinguisher. That's actually really handy. This is simply a patch for the above mod that allows the pawns to use the fire extinguisher as part of the firefighting behavior. We have remote tech. I really, really love this mod. It's basically demolitions. You can also use it for mining and clearing, although I have not used it for that. We may try that out this time. We'll just see. I usually do this later game to help with poison ships and so on. Less arbitrary surgery. It changes surgery successes to be a little less arbitrary and random. Doesn't really mess with the chance of success, but it just changes the failures for them. So, housekeeper assistance cat, I love this. I always hate assigning my colonists to clean. I know. It's bad. But here's the thing: you don't always start with one. You don't always get to buy one. They can't fight. They can't do much of anything except clean, and I like it. Animal gear, it simply makes it possible for animals to have actual gear. And then we've got some expansions. We've got the basic, the horse. Next, we have Mechanoids Extraordinaire. This way we can have, again, like I said, we're out for more content, more challenges. So this increases the difficulty and types of mechanoids that we can encounter, and some of them are absolutely horrible. So next we have the colony leadership mod. Really nice mod, allows your colony to elect leaders on its own. Those leaders who have skills over 8 can then teach those skills to the rest of the colony. Next we have Dub's Mint menus. Simply adds new list boxes. We have EDB prepare carefully, of course, so that we can save our colonists in preparation. We have Giddy Up with all of its assorted add-ons such as battle mounts, caravan, animal saddles, ride and roll. This is just a really great mod for people like me who crave more interaction with the mounts. We have LVM's deep storage because I have to admit I am the world's worst hoarder. Also, because we're going to be enemies with just about everybody on the planet, we're not going to be able to trade that much. A lot of our resources are going to have to come from raiding and doing quests. So that means we're going to want to hoard as much as we can, sell that to orbital traders, and that's where most of our stuff is going to come from. Next, we have Let's Have a Cat. Just add some new cats to the available animals. We have Meals on Wheels, which allows colonists to grab meals from animals or each other if needed. I hate seeing, like, you got 5 pawns out in the northwest corner. 4 of them are fine. 1 of them's starving. The other 4 have meals, and he just, like, falls out. So, anyway. Next, we have Mercenaries for Me. It allows us to hire and rent mercenaries. Next, we have Mercenaries for Me. It allows us to hire out and rent mercenaries. Great mod will give us a faction that we can actually be friendly with, although they don't really do anything other than rent us mercenaries. Next, we have Hunt for Me. Adds hunting to tamed animals. I love, again, I'm an animal fanatic guy. I love having big packs of animals, and this just helps out. We have Kill for Me, which adds killing to your pets. Since we plan to do bioengineering, I want to create combat pets. I'm envisioning like a Thrumbo with biomechanical arms and tentacles coming out of its back with, yeah, I'm going there. Mod Manager, cleaner, better mod management screen, just UI stuff for me. Pick up and haul. Gather stuff in their inventory and then haul it to a stockpile. It just increases efficiency. I don't know why this isn't part of the base game. Should be. Real Ruins. Say that 5 times fast. Anyway, basically, occasionally it uploads a copy of your base to a central server, and then when maps generate, you have a chance to actually see ruined versions of other people's bases, which is just really cool. All right, so Rim Cities gives us huge encampments and cities to raid and loot. Yes. Next, we have Spartan Foundry. I think that this is one of the best power armor mods out. One of the things I like about this is that nothing in here is craftable. You can only pick these up through quests and rewards. So we've got to, I think that really balances it out for the bonuses that you get from these. And our goal is to get out and do things. Next, we have Roads of the Rim. I don't know that we're going to use this, but I would like to have the option to use it. If we are going to be taking over the planet, it might be nice to have the ability to build roads. It's not something that we have to use. We'll just see how that goes. Next, we have Faction Manager, and the primary thing I use this for is it allows us to have multiple colonies. We also have a module for Faction Manager called Setup Camp that simply supports that plugin. Next, we have the Miscellaneous Modifications mod. It simply, again, patches and mods a bunch of small things that are really helpful. More mechanoids. Again, we're looking for bigger content, more mechanoids. Why not? Next, we have the Animal Collab project. Same thing as Alpha Animals, brings new animals to the game. Again, more content. Next, we have a Dog Said, which simply adds prosthetics and bionics for our animals. Next, we have a couple of patches for Dog Said. We have Let's Have a Cat and Mufflement, so that we can do them if we want to. So we have a series of patches for a Dog Said. We have a patch for Let's Have a Cat, the Mufflement, and the Animal Collab project. We have Hardworking Animals. This allows us to train animals to do things like haul. Really helps us out when we have a large animal population. Next, we have Adjustable Trade Ships, which does just what you would think it does. It allows us to adjust the frequency of trade ships. Considering that we are going to take over the planet, which means that we are not going to have friendly relations with hardly anybody on the planet, we're going to need somebody to trade with. Thus, we're going to increase the number of trade ships, probably to one every other day. We'll see how that goes. If we feel like that's too much, we can increase it. If we feel like it's too little, we can increase it to once a day. I just don't want to pass up the opportunity for that content and seeing I think it just really fits in well. Next, we have the Allow tool, and it simply makes your life easier. Next, we have Auto Seller. This will help with the amount of trade ships that we have coming. We have Better Workbench Management. Absolutely essential mod that I play with. Again, improves the whole interface. Just allows you to. Next, we have Blueprints. Everyone should know this. Simply allows you to make blueprints of your constructors and copy and paste them, basically. Next, we have our Prisoner mod. So, the concept of the series is we're not just taking over the world and killing everybody. We're actually taking these people, taking them prisoner. For the ones that will join us that have skills that we can use, they're going to join us, and we're going to take and just warp them biologically and turn them into biological soldiers for our Dark Lords. The rest of the poor souls that are chaff are either going to get sold, or they're most likely going to go in the pits of darkness, or we're going to arena them. So next we have Prisoner Ransom, which just allows us to sell prisoners. Next we have Prisoner Harvesting, so that we don't feel bad about harvesting the organs of some poor guy that we got that doesn't need his kidney. Next we have Prisoner Outfits, so that we can make actual prisoner outfits for these guys to wear. We have Restraints, which allows us to restrain not only our prisoners, but our colonists. Since our colonists will have sanity lost during this series because of how bad we're going to do things, we need to be able to lock them the heck up somewhere. We have more linkables. This creates things like more cooking tools, more workbenches, more linkables that help with your research and your workbenches. It's kind of a resource sink, but it does really help with larger builds. Next, we have Subsurface Conduit. Simply allows us to run a conduit under the ground. It costs, I think, 3 times the steel and also 3 times the time, so there is an offset to it. Next, we have build from inventory. Simply allows the colonists to build from their inventory. Again, I don't know why this isn't part of the base game. Next, we can sell our prisoners with no guilt. Yeah, because we're just bad cultists. So now we start getting to the juicy stuff. The next two are the core mods of our series. We have Questionable Ethics Enhanced and Evolved Organs Redux. Now, Evolved Organs allows us to, in the end game and on our way there, to design and bioengineer our colonists with evolved organs that can do all kinds of things. It can get really crazy. It's definitely a resource sink. The top things are way down the research tree. I have had a chance to play with this, and I am really just like chomping at the bits to get into this. To go with that, we have Questionable Ethics Unlimited, which allows us to grow organs, clone animals, scan brains, recruit hostile pawns instantly with nerve stapling, and more. So, yeah, I can't wait, guys. Next, we have Life Support, which is actually a piece of Questionable Ethics Enhanced. This was a bed that does life support. Obviously, it's end game, but it was just taken out and moved into another mod for compatibility. Next, we have Harvest Organs Post-Mortem. Simply allows us to harvest organs off of dead bodies. I can't talk today for some reason, guys. You got to forgive me. Camera Plus, which allows us to simply zoom in a little bit more. We have Centralized Climate Control. This is mid-game, maybe a little end-game, but simply allows us to get away from having to build air conditioners and worrying about ventilation. I mean, you still have to worry about ventilation, but the whole concept of vents and air conditioners and heaters and all that mess really gets streamlined with this. Now, I can hear the collective groans from some of you seeing tilled soil, and I agree, this mod is really overpowered, but I have gone in and changed the tilled soil from the base 200% fertility to 125. This still makes rich soil a desirable and wanted thing, and makes tilled soil still worth the little bit of extra work that you have to put into it. So next we have all of General M13's power stuff. These are later game research. They are very much resource sinks. Some of them are debatable if they're end game worthy, if they're worth the things that you actually put into them, but we'll see. So we've got wood-fired generators, wind turbines, solar powers, geothermal, chem, and of course water mill. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to do a water map. I really do like rivers, but I think we'll have to see what we can find out. Next, we have mechanoid power, which simply adds basically a new ship crash event, and there's a chance per each event that there will be a mechanoid power cell. You can take that and create a mechanoid power source with it. Definitely in-game stuff. It's totally random, can't craft the power cell, so there are some balance limits on that. We have enhanced battery, which of course gives us 5 more available batteries. Next, we have defenses expanded, which adds both concertina wire and H barriers. Gives us a little bit more content and some defense variety. We have simply more floors, just an absolutely great floor mod. Again, more content. We have expanded roofing. Now, I do not like the solar roofing in this, but I really do like the transparent roofs. Most likely I will not use the solar at all. And I kind of feel it's a little overpowered, but maybe not, but still, I just don't like the feel of it. But the transparent roofs I do use a lot for indoor growing. Extended turrets, which gives us some additional in-game turrets to play around with. We have mass graves, just in case we need to get rid of a bunch of colonists or something for some reason. We have medical supplements, which adds a couple of supportive medical products that are really nice. Just it's kind of like role-playing additions. Pretty nice. We have wall lights simply because they look cleaner. We have feed the colonists. This allows us to make bulk meals. It really helps out, especially with big colonies. So we have animal logic, which really patches and mods a couple of things about animals. It really helps. We have better pawn control, which now works with combat extended, allows us to do bulk assignments of colonists. It's really nice. Next, we have locks, which adds locks to doors, just absolutely great. We have Go Explore, which adds a number of new world events, again, in the quest for more quests, more content, more things to do. Next, we have one of my favorite small patches, Plant Growth Sync. Simply any plants that are planted within a small window of each other all sync up and then mature at the same time. Next, we have Power Switch, which adds some researchable things that add additional options to the power switch. Grazing Land, which patches it where animals don't destroy grass and eat according to their size. Since I like to maintain large herds of animals, this makes more sense, and also it kind of doesn't make sense that they just destroy the grass when they eat it. Next, we have Let's Trade, which just adds a ton of new traders to the game, 25 new traders, all kinds of stuff that you can do with them. Just, again, more content. With additional joy objects, one of my... Next, we have additional joy objects, one of my favorite content mods. Next, we have additional joy objects. It adds new things the colonists get joy out of, such as arcade cabinets and so on. We have advanced bridges to help us out with water on the map if we do happen to find a water map that will work for us. Next, we have Mend and Recycle, which simply allows us to mend and repair things. Then we have Minify Everything, which simply allows us to uninstall and minify just about everything, because why can't you? Mining Coast Spaceship, which adds a new faction that will send us spaceships and other events. Next, we have Stuffed Floors, which adds some really great floor types to the game. Next, we have All the Kibble, which adds kibble specifically for herbivores and carnivores. We have Advanced Hydroponics, which just gives us an advanced bay that allows us to grow faster. Next, we have Sterile Wall, which simply adds a wall type that matches the sterile tile. Next, we have Consolidated Traits, which does exactly what it says it does. It takes traits from a number of other mods and combines them together. So we have More Faction Interaction. Nice little rhyme there, but again, does just what the title says, adds more interaction to it, but it also does things like adds pirates that spread throughout the world. It makes it more of a living world. So craftsmanship kind of expands the thought bubble theme of Rimworld and allows pawns to exchange their knowledge when they talk to each other. It doesn't help a ton, but over the long term, it is kind of cool, and it is kind of neat to see some of the thought bubbles as they exchange their knowledge. Next, we have the Grenade Fix Rearmed, which simply keeps pawns from blowing themselves up. Really handy. We have Numbers, which is a customized overview tab. I use this quite a bit. Allows you to customize this screen and see what you need to see at a glance. We have Predator Hunt Alert, which replaces the normal Predator Hunt, which I can't ever see because I'm an idiot, with something a lot more visible. Next, we have Architect Icons, which adds icons to the menus. This really helps me out. Again, I'm a very, very visual guy. In fact, when I move from mod pack to mod pack, it really messes me up when things move around, and it takes me a little bit. Next, we have Pawn Badge. Now, this is a new mod that I found that allows you to add icons, basically, to your colonists, like, for example, little med kits, or a gun for a ranged guy, a fist for a melee guy. I just really think this will help out because we also intend to get a fairly big colony. Then we have unit insignias, which allows us just to create some additional badges to put on them. Simple mod called Follow Me. You can select any colonist and hit the home key, and the camera will follow them. We have Nursing Job, which adds a job that for simple stuff that shouldn't require a medical skill, like feeding people. We have the Quest tab. Is simply a tab for quests. You're going to see a lot of different tabs. Again, a lot of visual stuff in here. Next, we have More Planning, which just allows us to lay out planning ideas in different colors. We have Better Records tab, which simply applies color to the list of records. We have the work tab, the relations tab, the animal tab, the inventory tab, the flora tab, and the colonist bar. So as you can see, again, big visual stuff. Blighted alert, which I always miss the blight alert and then look down on all my plants. That's why I've got the blight auto cut. So conduit deconstruct, which allows us to deconstruct conduits. We have cleaning priority, which allows us to set areas that we can set priority cleaning on. It also automatically makes sterile tile a top cleaning priority. Blueprint totals tooltip, just really handy visual, tells me how much I need to drop a particular blueprint down. We have weapon stats, again, more visual stuff. Damage indicators, just a simple quality of life mod, shows damage stuff. Again, for me, visual stuff. Glowing heal root, I really like this. I grow a lot of heal root, and it just kind of looks cool when it grows. I know, kind of corny, but moody, which I cannot do without, and especially since we're going to be running a Lovecraftian sanity-themed pack, I am going to have this to be able to keep track of my colonists. So graphic chair overhaul just makes it look like the colonists are sitting. Next, we have another content mod, Statue of Colonist, just allows us to make colonists, Statue of Animal. Then we have Doormat, which simply allows you to create a doormat that when a pawn enters the room, it cleans their feet off and they don't track stuff inside. We have Herd Migration Revival. I always loved herd migrations. They took it out. This brings them back. We have Death Rattle, which next we have Death Rattle, which gives you a very small window in which you can save colonists that would otherwise be dead. Usually, though, they're so severely injured that unless you can get them in immediately, maybe have an organ handy or something like that, it truly is a death rattle. We have Dub's Rim Kit, which just adds a few things like med kits. I really like Dub stuff, so we've added skylights. We've added the break mod, which just changes how breaks are triggered. Next, we have colorful traits. Again, like I said, I'm a visual guy. This takes the traits and assigns colors to them based upon whether they are quote-unquote good or bad. Next, we have Rangefinder. Which just makes checking the range of your colonists dirt simple. You just click on them and click the hotkey twice, usually control. Next, we have the heat map. So sometimes raids go wrong. This is kind of to help balance out dire raids. But basically, there is a small chance that things will happen to raids when they come in. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. You can pause it and read over it yourself. But I have had some great times with this mod, and I think it will be great for the YouTube series. Recipe icons, again, I'm a visual guy, so more stuff on the menu means more happy Don. Next, we have stone tweaks, which gives us some color tweaks for the stone and gives us some new varieties. We have bullet casings, which allows us to see the bullet casings coming out of the guns. It's just a visual thing. I think it looks kind of cool. We have no debris. This gets rid of uncleanable debris on all surfaces, so just really nice. We have replace stuff. Allows us to replace an item instead of deconstructing it and then having to reconstruct it. RPG style inventory, just another visual thing for me. Next, we just have a patch for Combat Extended for RPG style inventory. We have animal variety coats. This is just another visual mod, just kind of changes up the visuals on the animals just a little bit. We have more harvest designators, which just adds some more plant-oriented designators to the game. Incident person stats, which just adds more details of person stats on the incident window. We have power alerts. Again, I'm really bad about ignoring things like this, so this just gives me some additional alerts like short circuit possibilities and things like that. Next, we have toggle harvest. Sometimes I don't want a particular thing being harvested right then, and this just helps it out. We have toggle refuelable, which also does the same thing on refuelable items like wood fire generators or chem fuel generators. We have fluffy breakdowns, which replaces random breakdowns with a maintenance requirement. I think it is much better for the system. It's a lot smoother, and I think it'll work out good for a YouTube series. We have apparel organizer, which organizes the apparel into categories, really handy. More visual stuff with power indicators. We have interaction bubbles, which brings everything out of the log onto the screen. More UI stuff. We have Room Sense. It's a toggleable display that just shows a visual representation of the room stats at one look. We have Research Pal, which smooths out your research, basically gives you a better tree. It seems to load a little bit quicker for me, at least when I have more mods, and I like the layout. We have Colony Manager, which allows us to set manageable jobs like collecting wood and hunting and things like that, and set limits on when we need it so that it will automatically maintain our stockpiles. A small patch for foxes. Rim Fridge, I kind of debated leaving this in because, with LVM storage, it's kind of repetitive, but I find that I really like this for drugs and body parts. So we're going to keep it. We have Vanilla Fences, which just adds more fences to the game and also gives us a fence tab. We have more furniture, which just gives us more stuff. We have Vanilla Weapons expanded. We have the Combat Extended patch for that. We have Vanilla Furniture expanded. We have the Art module for that, the Farming module for that, and the Production module for that. Just gives us a bunch of new stuff that we can add. Again, content. We have Vein Miner, one of my favorite small patches. Again, just gives you an icon for vein mining, automatically selects everything your miners can go mine it. Just make sure that you don't accidentally click on like the rock of the entire mountain. Next, we have researchable fuses, which allows us to get away from the short circuit event. They are resource sink, but they really do help out. Next, we have roof supports because I am absolutely terrible at forgetting, letting my colonists get killed by falling roofs. So I take these and stick them in before I start mining away. Next, we have most of the entire VGP series. We have garden canning, garden drinks, extra flowers and trees, coffee, tea, drugs, garden fabrics, vegetable garden, more veggies, garden tools, garden resources, garden gourmet, garden medicine. Now, the only thing that I didn't include, I think they have one for like solvent green or something similar to that, and I did not grab that. So we've got the priority clean mod, which just adds a priority cleaning option to the work tab. That goes along, that can also go along with the zones above. We have psychology. I figured since we were doing a sanity loss and messed up type series, we would do psychology in there. I really, really like this mod. It just changes so many things in the psychology and social sections, and it's really nice. So here's we're also going to run the imprisonment patch so that we don't get the negatives from all that, because it's pretty serious. We've also got therapy, which allows us to treat sanity addictions and also calm people down. We have realistic rooms, which makes the room sizes a little bit more realistic. Doesn't make it really horrible, but it does make them more realistic. We have rational romance, overhauls the romance system, makes it a lot. Next, we have run and gun, which actually allows us to fire while we're on the run, just like it says. However, it gives us pretty major penalties for doing so. So we're going to keep it in, but we're going to try not to use it that much. It's more like an emergency, get the heck away. The enemy can, of course, run and gun also. Next, we have Share the Load, which simply patches the game to allow multiple people to deliver resources to a blueprint. Just makes building a lot faster. Next, we have Priority Treatment, which just means that people will act a little bit more responsibly and actually treat themselves or get to a bed where they can be treated when they are hurting. Next, we have Setup Camp, which allows us to do just what it says. Set up camps while we are out on caravans. It will extend some of the time that we have when we're raiding and give us a few other benefits. Next, we have Shield Generators, which of course just add shield generators to the game. We have Show Mod Designator, since we're running so many mods. We have Simple Sidearms, which simply lets us have more guns, which is never a bad thing. We have Simple Turrets, which adds a few more turrets to the game. Well, I'm not really sure why that didn't didn't click when I did it. But simple turrets adds a few more turrets to the game. Again, more content. We have smart medicine. Allows doctors to use medicine from their inventory. Does a couple of other patches that are really nice. We have smart speed, which allows us to go up to 4x. We have snap out. Again, similar to therapy, but this allows us to try to snap people out of mental breaks on the go. It just allows people to try to calm them down. Next, we have stack double XL, simply because I'm a hoarder, and without it, we're not going to be able to hoard properly. Then we have stackable chunks. Again, another stack thing to get into my hoarding. We have Tables Plus, which adds linkable tables and stools. Really nice for making those. We have a taming artifact. It is a very expensive item that allows you to insta-tame some animals. It is balanced out by the fact that it is expensive as crap. So, next we have tradable meals, also tradable stone blocks. It simply allows bulk trade ships to buy and sell meals again, as well as stone blocks. I really don't intend to be selling anything. That's not the thing. But I do want to be able to buy it if we have it. Next, we have turn it on and off, which simply makes machines that are not on use less power. Next, we have turn it on and off, which allows machines to only use 1 watt of power if they're not in use. So basically, it adds an idle to them, which makes sense to me. Next, we have a temperature gauge. It adds just a visual indicator for temperature. I haven't used this much, but I have found that occasionally I do like to have it. Next, we have use bedrolls. It allows you to use bedrolls from the inventory, just a simple little patch. A lot of these are like little small quality of life patches that I like to throw in for myself. Next, we have disease overhauled, which just overhauls all the existing diseases, adds some new ones in, adds experimental brain surgery, additional drugs. Again, more content, more stuff to deal with, more stuff to kill us. We get defensive position, which allows you to set a defensive position for colonists individually, and then you can draft them and send everybody automatically to their defensive positions. It's really nice. Next, we have Dead Man's Clothing, which simply removes the debuffs from tainted clothing. Next, we have a Storyteller mod. It is double population, simply allows us a choice with our base storytellers that allow us to have a double population limit, and that is what we are going to use. Next, we have No Pawn Left Behind. Adds a new event quest that one of our pawns has been captured and we can go get him. Again, more content, more stuff to kill us. Simple patch called Drugs Are Not Food does just what it says. Patches some drugs so that they're not listed as food so your animals don't eat them. Just ignore me passing, does just what it says, patches the game so that colonists can get by without interrupting anyone. Next, we have medical training, allows you to take the corpses of your prisoners and take them apart to increase your medical score. Doesn't increase it much, takes a lot, but it really does help out having things to do with the bodies, which is going to be a big thing for us. Trading spot allows us to basically control where traders are. I can't stand when these guys come inside my base. I want them to be outside my base. I will come out and talk to you. Next, we have meal radius, which simply patches it to where colonists who are within 128 blocks of a table actually go to the table and eat instead of eating and then going, I didn't have a table. So next, we have dismiss traders so that we can get rid of the traders when they come by. This is important to not have us as much lag. We get partially passable wind turbines, which does just what it says, allows us to scoot right by them. Next, we have please haul perishables. This patches the way that hauling actually works. I will leave this open for you to read it. It's a lot easier for you to read it than it is to explain it. Next, we have Jabba Monkey's graphic overhaul. Great little graphic overhaul. Really nice high-res textures. I just really like the way it looks. Next, we have Miscellaneous Core. This is just the core plugin for the entire Miscellaneous series, which we are using. We have the Miscellaneous Map Generator. It creates detailed ruins on maps. We have miscellaneous map generators, which builds various ruins. We have faction bases, which actually builds faction bases from a database. We have miscellaneous incidents, which gives us some new incidents. Miscellaneous training, which adds some new items like target practice, and so on. We get bionic icons, again, more icons, graphical overhaul. We get prosthetic icons, same thing. Facial stuff, which is a really nice little mod that adds some variety to the way colonists look. It also adds hands and feet. I actually take those off because they seem to cause lag with as many mods as I run. Next, we have Rimworld, which just makes a graphical adaptation to the game and just makes it look a little bit greener. We have Rim Hairstyles Merged, which has hair from a ton of different mods, so that we have some hair. We have Apparello 2, probably the best clothing mod in all of Rim. We have Show Hair with Hats. I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain that one. We have P Music, which just adds some additional fan-created songs to Rimworld. You have something to listen to. Next, we have Complex Jobs, just breaks out the job system into more categories, allowing for more fine-grained control. And finally, we have Hospitality, which just allows us to recruit visitors. All right, so let's talk about setup. We are going to be doing Crash Landed. We're going to be using a storyteller that has double population, and to get everything up and moving quicker, because this is a YouTube series, we are going to start with 5 colonists instead of 3. The basic reason for that is it would just take us too long to get moving to go out and do anything. And this should give us a quicker pace in our YouTube series to keep it from getting bogged down at first. So it's basically 2 more colonists and then 25% more resources, which I think is fair because 2 more colonists is more than 25%. We've also added in ammo since Combat Extended requires ammo. Otherwise, we're going to have guns that, we can't use because we don't have ammo for them. The map is scattered with 4 chunks, 1,000 steel, and 7 packaged survival meals. For our storyteller, we are going to go with Cassandra Classic. We're going to go with a double population, though. This also adds new difficulties all the way down to post-apocalyptic and spoiled life. We are going to start out on rough. The reason we're going to start out here is simply because there are more realistic threats for quests when we go out, and it will make it easier for us early on. As we progress and as the base builds up and we get more powerful, our goal is to get down here on spoiled life and basically get ourselves destroyed at somewhere on our march down here. But we are going to keep going as we go, and we're going to increase the difficulty basically until we die. Reload anytime mode, because YouTube and running this many mods, I do not trust Rimworld to stay stable, although this mod pack, this mod collection has been extremely stable for me. So I'm really excited to do this. For our map, we are going to be going with a seed that I have already checked out called Altar of Flesh. We're going to do 50% globe coverage because I think that 30 just doesn't give you enough to choose from. Map-wise, what I was looking for was a good starting location in Temperate Forest with some mountain that was around enough starting factions that we would have some early conflict, and I found a really good spot that I want to show y'all. All right, guys, so this is the map. I'll take a small tour around the map for you to take a look at it. As you can see, it's pretty densely populated. If you know anything about Lovecraftian lore, we've got the agency up here. I was kind of hoping to start in an area with the agency, but I couldn't find a tile that kind of, I guess you could say, fulfilled my requirements. And this was what I found. What I wanted, I didn't necessarily want year-round, although this turned out to be year-round. My requirements were I wanted to be in a dense area of factions, which this is definitely one, and I wanted to be near roads, and this is a great little road complex. We can go either direction here. And this whole road complex leads out into this, and this whole road complex leads out into here. So it's a pretty awesome little highway system. I was really hoping to get something that looked good to me that also had a river in it, because I kind of like doing, ocean and fishing and water power, and I kind of like to showcase and use some of the lesser used stuff. So, but I couldn't find anything that matched my requirements. So here's where we're at. It's mountainous. There's granite and pink marble, which means that we have granite to build our defenses out of, and pink marble to build our stuff for our colonists. And it is year round. There are caves, and yeah, I think that's going to be it. So we're going to leave it here. The next time that we meet up, we're going to be dropping the colonists in and starting episode 1. Thank you guys for tuning in and taking the time to listen to me blab through all of this. Remember, if you like what you see, if you like what you heard, hit the red subscribe button. You know how it works. If you don't support me, support the streamer or the content creator that you watch, because you guys are the reason that we do this. Peace out, guys. I will see you for episode 1 of the series.